Tenía un reparto increíble y una premisa tan buena que hasta nos dio una serie grandiosa que lleva el mismo nombre que la película, Fargo. Hablé con Tony Denman, el pequeño Scotty, sobre sus recuerdos en este rodaje.
We now return to Mira a quien encontré with our latest interview.
Even to this day, I still sometimes think, wow, what an amazing experience that was kind of handed to me at 14. And I really wish I could kind of go back and either do it again or relive it with the knowledge of knowing who they are and what they were going to become. I was just happy I was out of school and that there were gummy bears on set. You know, those are the two exceptions for me.
You should see the other guy. Oh, geez. Fargo.
I was like about 14 years old, and I had been acting in Minnesota, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, for about maybe 3 years or something like that, going on auditions, commercials, little bit pieces, a line here, a line there in movies. So I was kind of used to going to auditions and like, it was a small pond. So I kind of became a little bit of a bigger fish relatively quickly there, just lucky, I guess, you know. And when I auditioned for the role, originally they auditioned and then they went away and did like a nationwide search. Apparently, I didn't even know this, because for me, it was just another audition. I didn't even know who the Coen brothers were. It was just a movie, here, go and say these lines. And then they came back about 6 months later and they said, oh, hey, you got to call back for this thing. And my mom was like, oh my God, you got to call back for the Coen brothers. And I was like, what's that? I'm like, what are the Coen brothers? You know? She made me watch, when I was 14, she made me watch Blood Simple, Raising Arizona, and Mississippi Crossing. Anyway, so she made me watch some Coen brother movies, and I was like, what the hell is this? This is insane. I've never seen anything like it. And then I ended up going in, I auditioned again, and then so they called me in to meet the Coen brothers. And I was like, okay. I go in, and it wasn't really a big deal to me because I didn't know who they were. So I walk in, and there's these two guys sitting at a table at the camp, and they looked like camp counselors. I swear to God. And I've been going every year my whole life. So Ethan had like a big kind of curly afro, and and Joel had a long ponytail, and they had like Patagonia, like sweatshirts on, and like water bottles, Nalgene water bottles. And I was like, where's the granola? That's all we need here, some trail mix. And, hiking boots on. And so I was right at that. They're in Minnesota. And right away, we just kind of started talking. And I was young. I didn't really know what to say or how to impress these guys. So we just did the scene. And then they said, thank you very much. And then I think later that day or the next day, my mom got the call and said, yeah, they want you to be in the movie. And I was like, oh, great. I got another part. Still, I had no idea what the movie was going to be like or, the kind of sensation that it was.
I'm talking about your potential. Mm-hmm. You're not a C student.
Yeah.
Yet you're getting C grades.
I didn't even get it. I was just like, because I feel like the Coen brothers are such visceral filmmakers. The visual aspect and the tone behind them when you see it will come across so much different than what's on the page. And especially as like a 14-year-old who's really just interested in like going out skateboarding, I didn't get the script, I'll be honest. And my mom maybe had kind of a bigger kind of foresight with the whole thing. But the funny thing is I did have to swear in the film. I had to say the F word. And I was just really, that was another thing. I was like, I get to say the word fuck. All right, I get to get away with it. So I was practicing it like, there's no fucking way. And my mom's like, all right, enough. Okay. And run your lines, but that line, stop. And I think looking back on it now, like, thankfully they were, ahead of their time enough to allow me to do something like that. Because, yeah, very easily some parents could have been like, no, these guys are too dark, they're too weird, I'm not going to let my kid. But again, I think it was still before, they were ahead of the Coen brothers. Were ahead of their time. No one really knew. That was the movie that launched them into kind of this, superstar.
Yeah.
That really.
What if something goes wrong, Dad? And then...
No. Nothing's going wrong here. Granddad and I, we're making sure this gets handled right.
Well, right before that that scene. So we're like sitting in my trailer because every day I was on set, which I only shot like for 1 week. I shot like 5 days straight because I'm not in a lot of the movie. I'm in like 5 scenes. So, but they held me there a couple days and just, oh, are we going to use him today or not? Which was fine with me. I was like, as long as I get to be out of school. So, yeah. So that day we're sitting in my trailer. Everybody had their own trailers, of course, but I was lucky enough to have one too. And we're just talking, and then they knock on the door and they say, all right, guys, time to go to set. And so I go, hey, Mom. I reach in my back pocket, and I say, hey, Mom, can you hold on to my wallet? And I will never forget this. Bill Macy goes, nuh-uh, son, you always hold on to your own wallet. Keep it in your back pocket. And I was like, oh, okay, thanks. So to this day, I still always, in every scene, keep my wallet on me. I don't know. I'm like, Bill Macy told me that. Maybe he doesn't even do it, but he was just being parental. So I always keep my wallet on me, and then we went and did the scene, and, you know, it was weird because I remember being in this small bedroom, and Joel Coen is, like, just literally on the other side of the camera right there, and he was, like, looking at me and just pinching his neck, and he's like, okay, he's like, okay, so you don't know where your mom is. You're really sad. You know, just whispering these, like, these directorial notes, and I'm like, okay. And then Bill Macy's like just here, like next to me. And it was like, okay, they were like, we did like 2 takes, and they were like, okay, great, cool, moving on. And I was like, oh, well, that was easy. Oh, and the one thing he did say to me, he goes, okay, so this sweater that you're wearing, your mom knitted it. And it hate it, but you're only wearing it now because you don't know it. And I was like, oh, yeah, sure. I mean, maybe Dave Lewis thinks about these kind of things, but I was a 14-year-old kid who...
I really think we should call the cops here.
No one can know about this thing.
I never really even thought about the fact that we had an accent, you know? And in the movie, they really play it up, you know? They make it sound like we're some northern Canadians or something like that, which, if you go to some places in my hometown, you'll see they're like, okay, thank you very much now. Oh, yeah, a real cold one out there, eh? And you're like, holy crap. When I go back home, I'm like, you guys really do talk like this, but not everybody. But I remember Bill Macy just kind of hanging out in my trailer, like talking to me, like listening, kind of. But, you know, they were such fantastic actors, Frances McDormand and Bill Macy, that I think, you know, the accent came to them really quickly, really easily. And they just immersed themselves in it. And I didn't even, and again, they weren't big stars then, so hanging out with Bill Macy and sitting in my trailer with him, he was just another actor playing my dad, really. You know, and I met Frances McDormand and Steve Buscemi at the time. These were actors that were kind of up-and-coming character actors, you know. And again, the movie is what propelled them into a different status.
I'm cooperating here, and there's no,
And raising Arizona.
What do you fellas got yourself mixed up in?
Oh, jeez.
I wish my representation tried to get in touch with them and said, hey, you should do a Scotty spin-off or something like that.
So what happened with Scotty after the movie? You don't have your dad, you don't have your mom.
Yeah, that's what I always say. It should be Fargo 2, Scotty's Revenge.
Did you watch the series that it's... what do you think of the accent of the things, and do you think that they honor what the Coen brothers and you did in 1996?
Yeah, what things I like about it are the acting is phenomenal, I think. The storytelling is very good. And also, it's not trying to be a direct, like, spin-off or remake. You know, because let's face it, no one could ever touch what they do because that's what they do, you know? So it's kind of saying, well, here's another example of it. It's just really putting an idiot in a really struggling situation and just being able to laugh at these idiots and watch them die or nearly die, basically, you know? It's just dark humor. And I think that it does it brilliantly.